I've been on the bench long enough to know one universal truth. Teenagers will swear up and down that nothing is ever their fault. Their homework disappears, their alarms don't go off, their phones mysteriously post things at 2 a.m., and when they get behind the wheel, suddenly the laws of physics bend just for them. That's exactly the energy radiating off the teenage defendant, standing in front of me, 18 years old, hair sculpted with enough product to survive a hurricane, and the kind of exaggerated confidence only a recently licensed driver could possess. His name was Tyler Grant. He looked like he thought he was auditioning for a commercial about deodorant. Across from him was the plaintiff, Mr. Donnelly, a man in his 50s with the demeanor of someone who has worked too many double shifts and has no patience left for nonsense. He stood straight, hands folded, eyes forward, radiating a kind of calm that told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't here for drama. He was here for the truth. That already put him ahead of Tyler. I tapped my pen on the bench. "All right," I said. "We're here because you." I pointed at Tyler, ran a stop sign, and hit Mr. Donnelly's car. "He wants you to pay for the damages. You say it wasn't your fault. I'm curious to hear how you plan to make that argument without laughing." Tyler cracked his knuckles. "Your Honor, I didn't run the stop sign." Of course he didn't. In his mind, "And you didn't hit his car," I said dryly. "Well, yeah, I hit it," he said, shrugging, "but that's only because he sped up." I looked at the plaintiff. "You sped up." Mr. Donnelly shook his head. "No, Your Honor. I was already in the intersection. He came out of nowhere." "Nowhere," I repeated, turning back to Tyler. "Interesting geographic location. I don't think it's on the map." He blinked. "I'm just saying if he hadn't gunned it—" "Stop," I said, slicing the air with my hand. "Do not rewrite physics in my courtroom. Let's start at the top. Were you supposed to stop at that sign?" "Yes," he said reluctantly. "Did you stop?" He paused. Not a thoughtful pause, not a reflective pause, a calculating pause. The kind teenagers take when they're trying to figure out how much truth they can tell without incriminating themselves. "I slowed down," he said. "Slowing down," I replied, "is not stopping. If slowing down counted as stopping, none of us would ever reach our destinations." The gallery chuckled. Tyler didn't. "I slowed a lot," he insisted. "Did your wheels stop moving?" Another pause. "Not completely." "Then you didn't stop," I said. "Let's not pretend there's some philosophical interpretation here. Did you stop?" "No," he muttered. "Good. Honesty. Consider it a rare and fleeting guest in your life." I turned to Mr. Donnelly. "Tell me exactly what happened." He nodded. "I was driving home from work. I entered the intersection on my right-of-way. I had no reason to think anyone would blow through a stop sign until he did. He hit the side of my car, hard." Tyler shook his head furiously. "He exaggerates, Your Honor. It wasn't hard." "You dented his passenger door," I said. "What did you think you did? Kiss it?" More laughter from the gallery. Tyler frowned at them. "It wasn't my fault," he repeated. "Teenagers think repetition will magically convert fiction into fact. He shouldn't have been there." "Where exactly should he have been?" I asked, hovering above the intersection like a hummingbird. Tyler sighed dramatically. "Look, I drive that street every day. People roll through that stop sign all the time." "That's not a defense," I said. "That's a confession to bad habits." "No, I'm saying I know the area, and yet," I said, "somehow you didn't know how to brake." He glared at the floor. "Your Honor," Mr. Donnelly added, "there were skid marks behind his car. He didn't even try to stop until the last second." I turned back to Tyler. "Skid marks?" "Yeah," he shrugged. "I tried to stop. Tried to. Or panicked because you suddenly realized stop signs aren't suggestions?" Tyler's cheeks reddened. I saw him too late. "Why," I asked pointedly, "did you see him too late?" He opened his mouth, hesitated, then delivered the deadliest answer a teenager can give in a courtroom. "I was checking my GPS." Mr. Donnelly exhaled, vindicated. I folded my hands. "So let me get this straight. You ran a stop sign because you were staring at your phone." "Not staring," he corrected defensively. "Just glancing." "Let me explain something," I said. "Whether you stare, glance, peek, smirk, or wink, if your eyes aren't on the road, they aren't doing their job." He looked annoyed. I only looked for a second. "And you only crashed for a second," I snapped. "But we're still here, aren't we?" The gallery murmured in agreement. I continued. "Did you get a ticket?" "Yes," he muttered. For what? He hesitated again then, failure to stop. Shocking, I deadpanned, and I pressed and distracted driving. There we go, I said. Now the puzzle pieces form a picture. Not a flattering picture, mind you, but a picture nonetheless. Tyler crossed his arms, classic teenage body language, meaning I've made terrible decisions but refuse to reflect on them. Your Honor, he said, I feel like everyone's against me here. No, I said. Everyone is merely aligned with reality. You're the only one fighting it. He blinked at me, mouth slightly open. I continued, you didn't stop. You admitted you didn't stop. You were looking at your GPS. You hit a man who had the right of way. And your excuse is he shouldn't have been there. Tyler scowled. He saw me coming. Mr. Donnelly raised his brows. Of course I saw you coming. That doesn't mean I can teleport my vehicle out of your path. I chimed in. This is a courtroom, not a Marvel movie. Nobody here has superpowers. Tyler huffed. I'm telling the truth. Son, I said, if this is your truth, I'd hate to see your lies. He recoiled. I leaned forward, voice low and razor sharp. Tell me what actually happened. Not the fantasy, not the version you think will make you look better. The truth. He swallowed hard. And that's when his mother, seated in the back row, spoke up loud enough for the whole courtroom to hear. Tyler, just tell her. He spun around. Mom. She shook her head. Enough. I saw the video. You rolled through the stop sign without even checking. The ripple through the gallery was immediate. I raised a brow. Video. His mother nodded. Our dash cam. Dash cam. Music to my ears. I extended my hand. Bring it here. Tyler turned pale, which is always the color of truth catching up. The moment I said, bring it here, Tyler's shoulders dropped like someone had pulled the plug on whatever flimsy confidence he'd been running on. Teenagers always think they're the main character until the dash cam footage enters the chat. His mother stood clutching her purse with the solemnity of someone about to hand over state evidence. Your Honor, she said, I have the clip ready on my phone. I gestured to the bailiff. Let's see it. Tyler whispered sharply, Mom, why would you bring that? She didn't even look at him, because I knew this was exactly how you'd act. Ah, a woman who has raised a teenage boy. She spoke like a veteran of a long, exhausting war. The bailiff brought the phone to me. I tapped play. The video began with the angle pointed out the front windshield. The teen's car rolled toward the intersection. The stop sign came into view. My blood pressure began its ascent. Tyler's voice on the audio. Hold on, let me check the turn. Then the phone's GPS chimed. Then the car, dear heavens, never slowed to anything resembling a stop. It cruised right through the intersection as if the sign were a decorative suggestion, and then impact. The screen jolted and Mr. Donnelly's car came into frame precisely where it should have been. I pressed pause. Silence filled the courtroom thick as wet cement. I turned my eyes slowly, deliberately toward Tyler. He stared at the floor like he was hoping it would swallow him whole. If the universe had any compassion, it might have. Well, I said, that was enlightening. Tyler didn't respond. I especially enjoyed the part, I continued, where you announced out loud that you were checking your GPS. Makes my job easier when defendants narrate their own guilt. A couple of people in the gallery stifled laughs. Tyler's mother rubbed her forehead as if fighting off a migraine. I leaned forward. Mr. Grant, you didn't slow down. You didn't stop. You didn't even pretend to stop. You rolled through that sign like it personally offended you. Tyler muttered something. What was that? I asked. I said it didn't look that bad from inside the car. I blinked at him. Oh, so in your world, accidents only count if they feel dramatic. Is that how physics works now? He didn't answer. Let's try something simpler, I said. Why didn't you stop? He shrugged. I thought I had time. When you thought you had time, I corrected. Were you using your eyes or your GPS? He hesitated. I glanced up. After you already entered the intersection, I said. Brilliant timing, really. He flushed deep red. His mother spoke again, louder this time. Tyler, just admit what you did. He rounded on her. Why are you taking his side? Because she snapped, he wasn't the one who caused $1,000 in damage. 1,000. Tyler's head jerked toward Mr. Donnelly. You said 800. I never said any number, Mr. Donnelly responded calmly. You assumed it would be cheap. I held up the repair estimate. The damage is $1,127.46. As it turns out, collisions cost money. Who knew? Tyler threw his hands up. This is so unfair. Unfair, I repeated. Unfair is a word that belongs in a playground, not a courtroom. You ran a stop sign, looked at your phone, and hit a man who had every legal right to be where he was. He huffed, but he could have slowed down. I stared at him. Slow down for what? To compensate for your inability to obey basic traffic laws. The world does not revolve around your braking skills. I'm just saying, no, I said bluntly. You're just wrong. More murmurs from the gallery, the kind that say, thank heavens that's not my kid. Let's examine your logic, I continued. You want Mr. Donnelly to slow down at an uncontrolled intersection. Why? Because you refuse to stop at controlled ones. Tyler crossed his arms again. I'm not refusing anything. You refused to stop, I said. I slowed. You did not slow. The video shows you gliding through that sign like a tourist on a Segway. I held up the phone. Would you like to watch it again? He shook his head quickly. No. Good, I said, because I wasn't offering. Tyler's mother leaned forward, voice trembling with embarrassment and exhaustion. Your Honor, I told him over and over not to look at his phone while driving. He never listens. Oh, he listens, I said. Just not until the consequences show up wearing a judicial robe. Mr. Donnelly stood patiently, his hands still clasped in front of him. A man who had already accepted the reality, unlike the teen, still trying to outrun it. I turned to him. Mr. Donnelly, anything else you'd like to add? Just that I'm lucky no one was hurt, he said simply. He came out of that stop sign so fast, if I'd been half a second further into the intersection, we wouldn't be talking about a dent. We'd be talking about an ambulance. Tyler's face blanched. Good. Maybe now the gravity was sinking in. Mr. Grant, I said, voice-level driving is not a suggestion. It is not a video game. It is not an activity where you get to say, oops, my bad, and reset the level. When you take that wheel, you take on responsibility for every life around you. He shifted uncomfortably. You ran a stop sign. No ambiguity. No confusion. You did it. And you didn't even look for cross traffic because you were too busy looking at your phone. I wasn't texting, he muttered. Congratulations, I said dryly. You weren't committing the worst version of distracted driving. You merely committed the regular kind. He stared at me with wounded indignation. I ignored it. Your mother's dash cam is clear, your ticket is clear, the damage is clear, the liability is clearer than your understanding of basic road signs. He swallowed hard. So I said, unless you have a time machine you'd like to present as evidence, you are responsible for the collision, the damages, and the stupidity that caused them. Tyler looked defeated, finally. It took all of this to get him there, but we had arrived. And just so we're clear, I added, if you ever appear in my courtroom again and tell me you slowed down when you actually meant I barely lifted my foot, I will personally enroll you in a remedial driving class taught by someone who has no patience for teenage nonsense. I promise you I'm the gentle one. The gallery laughed. Tyler did not. But I wasn't done, not by a mile, because teenagers like Tyler don't crumble all at once. No, they pushed back one last time, and I could see it forming in his eyes. He was about to say something unbelievably stupid, which meant the real unraveling was about to begin. I could see it building in him, the patented teenage eruption of indignant nonsense. His jaw tightened. His shoulders bounced once like he was preparing to deliver a speech the world wasn't ready for. Here it comes, I thought, and then it came. Your Honor, Tyler said, voice raised just enough to signal disaster. I think Mr. Donnelly should take some responsibility, too. The gallery reacted exactly the way I did. Collective disbelief. We all inhaled at once, like an audience witnessing a magician accidentally saw himself in half. I narrowed my eyes. For what exactly? For being unpredictable. I actually choked on my own breath. Unpredictable. Tyler nodded like he'd just delivered a profound philosophical point. Yeah, like He didn't drive the way I expected. I rubbed my forehead. Mr. Grant, do you think the world is obligated to conform to your expectations? Should all drivers telepathically sense when you're about to ignore a stop sign? He shrugged. Maybe not telepathically, but he could have seen me. I assure you, I said he did. Unfortunately for him, seeing a car blow through a stop sign doesn't magically stop it from hitting you. He clenched his jaw. It just feels wrong that I'm the only one at fault. Feelings, I said, are not a legal principle. If they were, I'd have retired decades ago. His mother sank lower in her seat, wishing the earth would take her. I continued, please explain for the benefit of the entire human race how Mr. Donnelly contributed to this accident. Tyler puffed up. He could have honked. Honked, I repeated slowly, savoring the absurdity. You want him to honk to alert you that you're not following the basic laws of driving. Yeah. Sir, I said, a horn is not a substitute for your brain. The gallery exploded in laughter. Even the bailiff cracked a smile before catching himself. Tyler forged onward. People honk all the time to warn each other. Yes, I said, as a last resort, not because someone decides stop signs are optional accessories. He frowned. I'm telling you, he saw me. And I'm telling you, I said, that seeing you break the law does not obligate him to prevent your mistake. If anything, he's lucky he saw you at all, since you weren't looking at anything. He tried a new angle. Well, he could have braked earlier. So now, the person with the right-of-way must brake preemptively whenever a teenager approaches a stop sign. I mean, yeah. I shook my head. Let me make this painfully clear. If two cars approach an intersection and only one of them is required to stop, guess which one has the obligation? The one with the stop sign, he mumbled. Correct. No extra credit for stating the obvious. He scowled. I just think the blame shouldn't be all on me. And I think the sun shouldn't give me wrinkles, I replied dryly. But here we are. The gallery howled. Tyler turned red again, part embarrassment, part adolescent rebellion. Well, he wasn't going the speed limit. Mr. Donnelly blinked. Yes, I was. No way, Tyler insisted. You were going at least 10 over. Can you prove that I asked? Tyler scoffed. I just know. You just know. Fascinating, I said. Do you also just know lottery numbers? Because this is the first time I've seen clairvoyance used as a legal defense. His mother groaned softly. Mr. Donnelly spoke calmly. Your Honor, the police report states clearly that I was within the speed limit. I nodded. Yes, I read it. And it also states that the defendant admitted he wasn't paying full attention. Tyler stammered. I know well, I didn't mean it like that. It doesn't matter how you meant it, I said. Words have this magical quality of meaning things. He tried again. I just feel like everyone's making me the villain. You ran a stop sign, hit a car, lied about slowing down, and blamed the victim, I said. If you're looking for the villain, check the driver's seat. The gallery reacted with a collective, ooh. Tyler slumped. I continued, more serious now. Mr. Grant, this isn't about villainy. It's about responsibility. And your entire defense is built on the belief that other people should compensate for your mistakes. Life doesn't work that way. And driving certainly doesn't. His eyes darted to his mother, desperate for backup. Wrong choice. She stood. Your Honor, she said firmly, I need to say something. Tyler turned pale. Mom, please don't. But she was done protecting him. I love my son, she began, but he is reckless. He thinks rules are suggestions. I warned him. His father warned him. He's been lectured repeatedly about driving safely, but he refuses to take responsibility. Tyler looked like he had been stabbed. His mother continued, voice cracking, and I'm terrified his next mistake won't be a dented door. It'll be someone's life. The courtroom shifted. The weight of her words hung heavy even on me. I nodded slowly. Thank you for your honesty. Tyler stared at her, wounded. I can't believe you said that. She looked him dead in the eyes. I can't believe you made me... Silence? Real silence, not courtroom silence. Emotional silence. I gave them a moment before stepping back in. Mr. Grant, I said gently but still sharp, your mother is not here to humiliate you. She's here to wake you up. And frankly, so am I. He swallowed hard. Tears threatened, but he blinked them back. I continued, you are lucky. Lucky this was property damage. Lucky no one was hurt. Lucky you've only been summoned here and not to identify someone in a hospital. He shifted uncomfortable. Now, before I issue my judgment, I'm giving you one chance. One chance. He looked up. Tell me the truth. The actual truth. What happened at that stop sign? The whole courtroom waited. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Finally, I didn't stop, he whispered. I was looking at my GPS. I didn't see him. And it was my fault. His mother exhaled. Mr. Donnelly nodded. The gallery quieted. And I prepared to dismantle the final fragments of denial because the hardest truths weren't spoken yet. His admission hung in the air like the final note of a song no one wanted to hear. Tyler stood there, shoulders caving inward as if saying the words had drained all the bravado out of him. It was the first honest moment he'd had in my courtroom, and believe me, I wasn't going to let it pass without driving the lesson home. Thank you, I said. Now we're getting somewhere. Unfortunately for you, somewhere is still $1,000 in damages. He winced. I continued, Mr. Donnelly, I appreciate your patience. You've been the only adult in this room besides me. He nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. Tyler, sensing a pivot, raised his head. Since I told the truth now, does that help my case at all? I stared at him. No. His face dropped. You don't get a reward, I said, for finally telling the truth after exhausting every possible lie. You get a basic acknowledgement that you did the bare minimum expected of any human being with a functioning conscience. He muttered, doesn't seem fair. I opened my mouth, but his mother beat me to it. Tyler, stop, she snapped. Fair, fair. You're lucky the man you hit is standing here calmly asking for a repair bill instead of recovering in a hospital. You're lucky you're not facing a much bigger problem. He glanced away, cheeks burning. I leaned back in my chair. Let me tell you something, Mr. Grant. Driving is the most dangerous thing most people do every single day. And you treat it like it's a casual hobby you can do while multitasking. But when you're behind the wheel, there is no multitasking. There's driving, and then there's everything that gets people killed. He swallowed the reality, finally working its way under his skin. I continued, your mother is right. You are lucky, very lucky. But luck runs out, and when it does, you will wish you'd learned this lesson now instead of learning it standing over someone's hospital bed. A hush filled the room. Even Tyler didn't dare speak. Good. We could move on. Mr. Donnelly, I said, you provided repair documents for the door, the paint restoration, and the alignment issue caused by the impact, totaling $1,127.46. These costs are reasonable and directly tied to the defendant's negligence. Tyler opened his mouth. I shot him a look so sharp he shut it instantly. Now, I said, turning to him, you owe this man every penny, and you're going to pay it. He stiffened. I don't have that kind of money. His mother sighed and stepped forward. Your Honor, he has savings. He just doesn't want to use it. Tyler whipped around. Mom. Oh, don't mom me, she snapped. You have over $2,000 from graduation gifts sitting in your account. You've been hoarding it for a gaming setup. The gallery murmured. I blinked, slow and deliberate. A gaming setup. He stared at the podium. A gaming setup, I repeated, instead of paying for damages you caused. He muttered, I've been saving for that for a year. And now you're going to spend it, I said bluntly. Why? Because your actions have consequences. Welcome to adulthood. He let out an involuntary groan, the sound of a teenager watching his dreams die in real time. His mother folded her arms. You'll live. Tyler sank further into himself. I continued, Mr. Grant, if you think I'm going to prioritize your video game fantasy over the harm you caused another driver, you've overestimated the size of your leverage and underestimated my tolerance for nonsense. He nodded slowly, reality finally overtaking pride. Good, I said. Now we're not finished yet. His eyes widened. We're not? No, I said. We need to address something you said earlier because it was frankly dangerous. He looked nervous. What? You claimed Mr. Donnelly should have honked to warn you that you weren't paying attention. He swallowed. That mentality, I said, is how people end up dead. You do not outsource your responsibility to everyone else on the road. It is not their job to compensate for your negligence. It is not their job to predict your bad decisions. And it is absolutely not their job to honk at you to prevent you from breaking the law. He nodded again, eyes down. Look at me, I said. It took him a moment, but he lifted his gaze. This is your wake-up call, I told him. This is the moment where you choose what kind of driver you're going to be. You can walk out of here angry at the world, blaming everyone but yourself, or you can grow up. His jaw clenched, but something in his expression softened a crack in the stubborn shell. His mother watched him, shoulders tight, hope mingled with dread. Mr. Donnelly remained composed, waiting. I leaned forward. You told me earlier that you thought you had time. Those 4 words are the last thoughts a lot of reckless drivers ever have. Don't let those words be yours. He nodded, this time with sincerity, not defensiveness, not attitude, not teenage bravado. Now I said, shifting my tone, we have one final order of business. Tyler braced himself. What is it? You are going to apologize to Mr. Donnelly. He blinked. I already said, you apologized to me. I corrected him. That's not the same thing. His throat tightened. But, no, I said, you owe him an honest apology, and not the flimsy kind teenagers use on their teachers when they want extra credit. The real kind. He swallowed hard. Mr. Donnelly looked at him, calmly waiting. Tyler hesitated, opened his mouth, closed it again, then finally said, I'm sorry for hitting your car. I'm sorry I blamed you. It was my fault, and I shouldn't have been on my phone. Mr. Donnelly nodded. Thank you. That means something. I watched the exchange closely. Because teenagers don't usually give apologies, they give excuses dressed in apology clothing. But this was the real thing. Simple, direct, without theatrics, progress. I tapped my pen once. Good, I said. That's the first mature thing you've done today. He exhaled. Don't celebrate, I added. I'm not finished. His head snapped up because consequences still had one more layer, and he wasn't going to like it. Tyler had that look, wide-eyed, tense, bracing for impact. Teenagers are fearless when they shouldn't be and terrified when it's far too late. I let the silence sit just long enough for him to feel it. Reflection is a rare visitor in young minds. When it shows up, I like to give it a chair. Mr. Grant, I said, finally, you need to understand something before you walk out of this courtroom and resume life at full speed. He shifted nervously. Yes, Your Honor. You are not invincible. He blinked, not expecting that. You're young, you're healthy, you're energetic, and you think those qualities protect you. They do the opposite. They make you reckless. They make you feel untouchable. And that mindset kills people on the road every single day. His throat bobbed as he swallowed. I continued, voice sharp but steady. Everything you did leading up to this crash, rolling the sign, checking your phone, assuming the world would adjust to you, is a preview of the kind of driver who ends up on a tow truck or in a courtroom much worse than this one. He looked down at the podium, fingers gripping the edges. And I'm not exaggerating, I said. If Mr. Donnelly had been a second further into that intersection, we'd be talking about a funeral. Yours maybe, his maybe, someone's. Because cars don't care about age and inexperience. They're machines. One mistake can change or end everything. His mother placed a hand over her mouth, eyes glistening. Mr. Donnelly nodded slowly, agreeing without needing to speak. I leaned in slightly. But here's the part you need to hear most. You are still salvageable. He looked up surprised. You're not doomed to be reckless. You can change. You can learn. The people who scare me are the ones who double down, who refuse to accept responsibility, who blame everyone else. You walked in here as one of those people, but you don't have to walk out as one. He blinked several times, processing. His mother wiped a tear. I tapped my pen once. Now let's talk consequences. He stiffened again. You owe the plaintiff full damages $1, 127.46. No reduced amount, no shared liability, no creative interpretations of traffic law. He nodded, resigned. You will pay it, I said, from your savings. He inhaled sharply as if I'd stabbed his gaming dreams through the heart. I didn't blink. If you have money for entertainment, you have money for accountability. His mother nodded vigorously behind him. But I added there's one more consequence, and this one isn't financial. His eyes widened. There's more. Yes, I said, you're going to driving school. He let out a sound that was half groan, half protest. Why my license is fine. And it will remain fine, I said, if you learn something before your next mistake breaks, something that can't be repaired for $1,000 and some paint. He protested, but those classes are for, like, bad drivers. I raised an eyebrow. Do you think you're a good driver? He froze. He couldn't answer because the real answer was written all over the dashcam footage. I continued, this isn't a punishment, it's preventative medicine. You will attend a certified defensive driving course, you will complete it, and you will bring proof to the court within 60 days. If not, your license gets suspended. He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. And before you ask, no, I do not care if it interferes with your social plans, your gaming schedule, your job, or your favorite content creator's upload times. He shrank in place. Consider this, I said. If you put half as much effort into safe driving as you do into defending your mistakes, we wouldn't be here. The gallery murmured in agreement. Mr. Donnelly nodded, satisfied. Tyler swallowed. Okay, I'll do it. Good, I said. That's the bare minimum expectation for someone responsible enough to operate a 2-ton vehicle. He stood silently absorbing the weight of the moment. I shifted my attention to the plaintiff. Mr. Donnelly, judgment in your favor for the full amount. I'm also ordering the defendant to complete the driving course. Not because it benefits you, but because it benefits every other person who might end up sharing the road with him. He smiled faintly. I appreciate that, Your Honor. I turned back to Tyler. Now, before we conclude, there's one more thing you need to do. His shoulders tensed. What? You owe your mother an apology. His eyes widened in disbelief. For what? His mother stared at him, waiting. For, I said, putting her through this embarrassment, for ignoring her warnings, for treating her concern like background noise, for making her sit here while you twisted yourself into knots instead of telling the truth. He tightened his lips, angry, hurt, conflicted. I didn't budge. Well, he took a shaky breath and said quietly but clearly, Mom, I'm sorry. I should have listened. I should have told the truth from the start. And I'm sorry I scared you. Her eyes welled. Thank you, she whispered. She stepped forward and squeezed his shoulder. He didn't pull away. Small miracle. I gave them a beat, then snapped the moment back to order because sentiment is fine, but closure is mandatory. Good, I said firmly. Now let me leave you with this, Mr. Grant. He looked at me fully, no defenses left. You got lucky today, very lucky. But luck is not a strategy. Responsibility is. If you treat every stop sign, every intersection, every driving decision with the seriousness it deserves, you won't end up back in this courtroom. And if you don't, well, then you'll meet a judge who doesn't have the patience I just spent on you. His Adam's apple bobbed once. I won't be back, he said softly. See that you aren't, I replied. I picked up my gavel, tapped it once, clean, sharp, final. Judgment for the plaintiff. Case dismissed. Tyler exhaled like he'd been underwater. Mr. Donnelly thanked me and gathered his documents. His mother stood a little taller, not proud exactly, but relieved, which is sometimes the next best thing. And as they walked out, Tyler, between them, quieter than when he entered, I thought, maybe, just maybe, today mattered, because sometimes justice isn't just about money. Sometimes it's about a cracked ego, a shaken certainty, a truth finally spoken aloud. Sometimes it's about the kid who walks in, reckless, and walks out, ready to do better.